We kick off this year's show taking a look at some of the tech trends we should be looking out for in 2013. Are we going to see some big changes in the technology space this year? In studio with me, I have Jon Hoehler from Deloitte Digital, who can hopefully help me answer this question. Jon, welcome.
Hi Natascha, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Big trend last year is the cloud. Is that still the way to go this year?
I think a lot of people are going to still focus on the cloud. I think we're going to see, as we did last year, the small to medium enterprise space, in particular around cost savings and that sort of thing, still focusing on the cloud. We saw great initiatives from, in particular, Google with their Warzone Online service, getting great uptake. And hopefully we'll see other providers coming to the market with similar services.
Something that's been on the cards, we've also spoken about this before, is m-commerce or mobile money. What's new this year?
I think what's obviously pertinent is that there are a lot of mobile money solutions spreading across the continent.
And this started back in the day with M-Pesa.
This started in M-Pesa, and that's always been seen as the darling of the mobile money initiative. And a lot of companies, a lot of people really recognize M-Pesa as the world's leading mobile money service. In South Africa, it's had decent uptake, not on the same sort of scale as Kenya. But what's going to be fascinating for us is what we see with what we call interoperability between mobile money services, like what the telecoms companies were back in the 90s when they needed to connect calls and the banks with internet banking and doing interbanking transfers. Hopefully this year we'll see mobile money services from the various mobile operators being able, with allowing consumers to be able to transact between two different mobile operators.
Hopefully not fighting about cost though, because interconnectivity rates are still always an issue.
You always got to keep the lights on. So.
All right, so we had COP18 in December, which obviously looks at the plight of the planet. Is green still the new black for businesses?
I think if you look at what's going on globally, in particular the likes of, let's say, a Google or a Facebook, who have invested a lot in particular because of the amount of servers that they're running, upwards of 100,000 servers on Facebook's side and into the millions for Google. The emphasis on green is very important when it comes to their data centers, and I think that trend obviously is going to continue into 2013.
Business app development, we've now seen all the South African banks finally catch up to the concept of a banking app. Are we going to see more development, perhaps the insurers, the Deloittes of the world having their own internal and client-facing apps?
The enterprise mobility space when it comes to applications is exciting this year, and I think this is something that we see at Deloitte as something that a lot of businesses are going to take up. In terms of consumerization, a lot of consumers are, they play with Facebook, they're playing with Twitter, they're engaging with applications on a daily basis. Why not allow users and consumers to use apps within the working environment? Something what we're calling bring your own application to work. And I think this is something that will come. I mean, obviously the likes of bring your own device has been around for a couple of years now. Bring your own network was something that was emerging back end of last year. But hopefully something like bring your own application will be something that enterprises will take up.
Just the snag with that, we've got multiple operating platforms. We've got the Androids, we've got the iOSs. How do we find that balance? Some companies still only prefer certain models to be plugged into their network?
It's always a challenge, and when it comes to IT departments and CIOs and CTOs, it's, I think, the thing that keeps them up at night. Unfortunately, it's a reality of many CIOs and CTOs in situations that they have to focus on the platforms. This year, I think there's a big push towards iOS and Android. BlackBerry is still there and thereabouts. People shouldn't forget about BlackBerry. But the new one, which is coming out, well, not really a new one, but a resurgence, is from Windows and Windows Mobile. And I think from this year, with in particular Surface, is something that's going to be interesting to watch going into, in particular, the enterprise space.
Let's talk about 4G and LTE. We know about the trials last year.
Yeah.
One of the companies have been lauded as taking that step higher. When are we going to see commercial viability?
At the end of the day, there's a couple of factors that contribute to the launch of LTE and the successful uptake. One is actual device in hand. I think this is key to get these devices into people's hands and them using them. I think it's something to focus on. It's one thing having this great speed. You need content to be able to drive usage. And in South Africa, as many people know, we're very used to data caps. So now when you've got this high internet speed and small data caps, so you could use your data cap in a matter of hours.
Absolutely.
What about the rest of the month? So I think mobile operators in particular are going to need to look at how they service and focusing on the high-end consumer segment. It's last year, one mobile operator in South Africa indicated that around 120 megs are spent a month on smartphones in terms of usage in South Africa. Cisco indicated around the average is around 150 megabytes a month.
Nice.
You're seeing now with the the technology improvements in handsets, users are going upwards of 1 gigabyte in a month without even trying. These are things that mobile operators, I think, are going to have to focus on.
You guys are releasing your technology trends analysis survey in a few months. Tell us about that.
It's a great thing. It's the tech trends for 2013. We've got our global CTO coming out from the States, Mark E. White, chatting about what we see going on in 2013. And we always divide the trends into enablers and disruptors. And one of the enablers we're seeing this year is around gamification in the workplace and taking the general principles of gaming and applying it into a business process in an enterprise context. Something that was raised this year, but we really see coming to the fore in 2013. From a disruptive perspective, it always goes back to mobile. And now, rather than the focus being on you must have a normal strategy plus mobile, is it now a mobile-only situation? And what is beyond that? So we're excited. It's going to be great to have Mark back out here again, and hopefully we'll get some good uptake from it.
And hopefully we'll get him on the show when he's here.
Fantastic.
Jon Hoehler, thank you very much.